The year was 2047. Earth had spread out into space for more than 50 years. Small colonies dotted distant stars. Mining stations floated near asteroid belts. Trade ships moved quietly between worlds. Humans kept to themselves mostly. They followed the rules set by the Galactic Concord. The Concord was an old group of alien races. Tall insect-like beings with shiny shells. Slow-moving reptiles with thick scales. Crystal beings that glowed softly and spoke in light patterns. They had ruled large parts of the galaxy for thousands of years. They saw humans as new and noisy, but humans stayed inside their agreed borders. Their ships were small. Their weapons looked old. So the Concord let them be. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the exploration cruiser New Horizon. He was 42 years old, tall, with short brown hair starting to turn gray at the sides. He liked routine. He liked quiet days. The New Horizon was not a warship. It was built for looking, mapping, and collecting data. Right now it drifted through a large nebula cluster far from Earth. Purple and blue gas clouds swirled outside the viewports like slow smoke. Lieutenant Commander Laura Bennett sat at the operations station. She was 38, sharp-eyed, with black hair pulled back tight. She handled the daily work of the ship. She made sure the crew ate, slept, and did their jobs. She never raised her voice. She did not need to. Around them, the bridge crew worked in calm silence. Ensign Ryan Mitchell monitored the sensors. He was young, only 25, always excited about new discoveries. Petty Officer Kevin Torres checked the weapon systems. And not that they expected to use them. The railguns and point defense lasers had not fired in anger for years. They were mostly for breaking up space rocks. "Captain," Ryan said suddenly, "I have an odd reading. Energy spike, coming from bearing 040. It's strong." Daniel turned his chair. "Show me." The main screen lit up. A bright white dot pulsed against the dark. It grew fast. Laura frowned. "That's not natural. Too regular. Too powerful." Before anyone could say more, alarms screamed. Red lights flashed across every console. "Multiple contacts!" Ryan shouted. "Dropping out of hyperspace! They're all around us!" The viewports filled with shapes. Huge ships, sharp and angular, black hulls with green glowing lines, insect ships, reptile carriers, crystal spheres that spun slowly, a full Concord battle fleet, hundreds of vessels. No message came, no warning hails, nothing. The first shots hit without sound in the vacuum. Bright green beams sliced through space. One struck a nearby mining station called Haven 7. The dome shattered like glass. Air rushed out in white clouds. People inside had no time to scream. Daniel gripped the arms of his chair. "Shields up! Full power to engines! Get us out of here!" The New Horizon shook as a beam grazed its hull. Sparks flew from panels. Kevin yelled, "Shields at 60% already!" Laura's voice stayed steady. "We're taking fire from 3 directions. They're targeting every human signature." On the screen, more colonies burned. Outpost Delta glowed red, then went dark. A supply depot exploded in a silent fireball. Ryan's hands shook on his controls. "Captain, they're not stopping. They're wiping everything." Daniel stared at the screen. His face went hard. He had seen combat before, small fights with pirates. Never this. Never an entire fleet turning weapons on civilians without a word. "Open a channel," he said. "All frequencies." Laura nodded. The comm light turned green. "This is Captain Daniel Hayes of the Earth exploration vessel New Horizon," he said. His voice was calm but firm. "We are civilians. We have no military escorts. State your intentions." Silence answered. Then a cold, clicking voice filled the bridge. It came from the lead insect ship. "Human expansion has reached unacceptable levels. The Concord has decided. The infestation ends today." The channel cut off. Another beam struck the New Horizon. This time, it hit the engineering section. The ship lurched. Lights dimmed. Alarms wailed louder. Main drive offline, Kevin reported. We're leaking plasma. Daniel looked at his crew, young faces pale with shock, eyes wide. He felt something cold settle in his chest, not fear, anger, clean and sharp. Launch the distress beacon, he ordered. Full power. Make sure Earth hears this. Laura sent the signal. It carried images from the external cameras, burning colonies, silent explosions, the Concorde fleet moving methodically from target to target. The beacon ended with Daniel's voice. They hit without reason. No demands, no terms. They're exterminating us. To all Earth ships and colonies, this is not a drill. They want us gone. He turned to Laura. Plot a course. Any course. Just get us clear. The New Horizon limped away. Engines coughed and sparked, trailing smoke and debris. Behind them, the nebula lit up with more green fire. One by one, human lights went out. Hours later, the ship reached the edge of the cluster. The Concorde fleet did not chase. They did not need to. They thought the job was done. On the bridge, the crew sat in silence. Ryan stared at his empty sensor screen. Kevin cleaned blood from a cut on his forehead. Laura stood next to Daniel. They didn't even ask us to leave, she said quietly. Daniel looked out at the stars. No, they decided we were bugs, and bugs get stepped on. He took a slow breath. Send one more message, he said. To Earth command only. Priority Ultra. Laura opened the secure channel. Daniel spoke clearly. This is Captain Hayes. The Concorde has attacked without declaration. All outer colonies in this sector are lost. They call us infestation. They mean to end us. He paused. If you receive this, I know that we fought to the last, and tell the people back home. His voice dropped lower. We're coming back. The message ended. The New Horizon drifted into the dark between stars. Wounded, bleeding air, but still alive. Far away on Earth, the first fragments of the beacon arrived. Lights came on in bunkers. Phones rang in the middle of the night. Leaders woke up. Soldiers stood ready. The quiet frontier was gone. Something else had begun. The first pieces of Captain Daniel Hayes's distress beacon reached Earth on a quiet Tuesday morning in March 2026. The signal had bounced through relay stations for weeks. It arrived weak and broken, but the images were clear. Burning colony domes, silent explosions, alien ships moving like hunters through a field of rabbits. In New York, people stopped on sidewalks to watch screens in shop windows. In Tokyo, office workers froze at their desks. In small towns across America, families gathered around kitchen tables as emergency alerts buzzed on every phone. President Olivia Grant was in the White House Situation Room when the full message played. She was 56, short, with gray-streaked brown hair and eyes that missed nothing. She watched the footage without blinking. When Daniel's voice said, "They're exterminating us," she closed her eyes for 1 second. Then she opened them and stood up. She walked to the briefing table. Generals, admirals, and scientists waited in silence. No one spoke until she did. "We accept," she said. The room stayed quiet. She looked at each face. "They started this war. We will finish it. No more talks. No more borders. No more playing nice." She turned to the cameras that broadcast to every screen on the planet. "My fellow humans," she began. Her voice was steady. "Our people in the outer colonies have been attacked, without warning, without reason. Families are gone. Homes are ash. The attackers call us infestation. They think we will run or beg." She paused. "We will not." She leaned closer to the camera. "We have waited. We have built quietly. We have followed rules that were never fair. Today, those rules end. Today, we answer." She spoke for exactly 9 minutes. She listed the lost colonies. She named the Concorde races. She gave no threats. She made no pleas. She ended with one line: "We accept their war, and we will win it." The speech finished. The world did not panic. It moved. In shipyards around Earth and on Luna, the lights that had been dark for decades came on. Massive assembly lines hummed. Workers who had spent years building freighters now pulled blueprints for warships from sealed vaults. Designs marked contingency only became priority one. Orbital factories spun faster. Robotic arms welded armor plates thicker than houses. Engineers loaded antimatter pods into tubes that had gathered dust. Railguns the size of city blocks received fresh coils. Jump drive disruptors, devices that could tear holes in space, were tested in secret ranges. People volunteered. Lines formed outside recruitment centers. Old soldiers dusted off uniforms. Young men and women who had never seen combat signed papers. A college student named Megan Foster left her engineering classes to join the fighter wing. A mechanic named Brandon Hayes walked away from his garage and reported for pilot training. Admiral Nathan Brooks took command of the new Sol Defense Fleet. He was 61, broad-shouldered, with a face like carved stone. He had spent 30 years in the quiet Navy. He had trained crews for threats that never came. Now the threat was real. His flagship was the heavy battle carrier Independence. Once a museum piece in high orbit, now it swarmed with crews. Hangar bays filled with new fighters, sleek, ugly machines built for one job: kill. Commander Ashley Rivera stood at Nathan's side as operations officer. She was 40, quick, with short red hair and a mind like a computer. She ran the refit schedule. She moved ships like pieces on a board. She made sure every bolt was tight and every gun was hot. In the main shipyard over Mars, an engineer, Jacob Ellis, worked without sleep. He led a team welding extra armor to the Independence. Sparks flew around him. His hands were black with grease. "Faster," he told his crew. "They hit our people. We hit back harder." News feeds showed the changes. People watched factories roar. They saw volunteers train. They heard the hum of engines being tested. Fear turned to something else: focus, purpose. The Concorde waited. Their scouts reported human ships pulling back, no counterattacks, no fleets rushing out. The insect admirals clicked in satisfaction. The reptiles hissed soft laughter. The crystals pulsed with calm light. They thought the humans were broken, hiding, running. They were wrong. On Earth, in underground bunkers, leaders met in secret. Maps of the galaxy covered tables. Red marks showed Concorde worlds. The blue lines showed old human borders. Now new lines appeared, lines that pushed deep into enemy space. President Grant approved the first orders. "Hold position," she told Nathan Brooks over secure link. "Let them think we're weak, then show them we are not." Nathan nodded on the screen. "We pull back to the inner systems," he said. "We disappear into the dark. We build. We wait." He looked at Ashley. "Make sure every ship knows the plan. No one fires until I say." Ashley smiled thin. "They will regret giving us time." Weeks passed. The Concorde sent patrols into human space. They found empty stations, silent outposts, no resistance. They claimed victory. Their news channels spoke of the final cleansing. Grand fleets returned to core worlds. Crews celebrated. On the Independence, Nathan Brooks stood on the bridge. That he watched reports of conquered ships leaving the frontier. "They think it's over," he said. Megan Foster sat in her cockpit simulator. She ran attack patterns again and again. Her hands moved fast on the controls. She wanted to fly real missions. She wanted to fight. Brandon Hayes trained beside her. He was calm, steady. He knew this was not a game. In the armory, Kevin Torres checked rifles and grenades. He had survived the New Horizon. He had seen friends die. Now he loaded magazines with quiet anger. Laura Bennett had made it back too. The New Horizon was in dry dock, being rebuilt into something meaner. She walked the corridors of the Independence now. She carried new rank, commander. She helped plan the first strike. Daniel Hayes stayed on the surface for a while. He met with families of the lost. He spoke to crowds. And he told them the truth. "They burned our homes," he said. "They killed our people. They thought we would break." He looked at the faces in front of him. We did not break. We woke up. One night he stood on a balcony in San Francisco. The city lights stretched below. Stars shone above. Laura joined him. She had come down for a short leave. "They're celebrating out there," she said. "The Concorde thinks they won." Daniel stared at the sky. "Let them." He turned to her. "When we come back, it won't be quiet. It won't be clean. It will be everything they never expected." Laura nodded. "Finally," she said softly, "a reason to get really nasty." Somewhere in the black between stars, hidden fleets waited. Ships with new names: Vengeance, Retribution, Fury. Ships loaded with weapons no one had ever seen in open war. The quiet frontier was dead, and the reckoning had begun. 3 months had passed since the Concorde attacked. Their fleets had moved through human space like a storm. They left only ruins behind. Now the aliens felt safe. They gathered above the broken colony of Epsilon Verge. The planet below was dark. No lights, no signals. Just craters where cities once stood. Grand Admiral Kazath Vor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Razor Claw. He was tall, with black shell armor that clicked when he moved. His many eyes scanned the screens. His officers stood around him. Insect crew clicked in approval. Reptile officers hissed softly. Crystal beings pulsed green light. "Report," Kazath Vor ordered. A subordinate stepped forward. "All human presence in this sector is gone, Admiral. No ships, no survivors. The cleansing is complete." Kazath Vor tilted his head. "Good. Oh, the vermin learned their place. We return to the core worlds. Let the others know victory is ours." The bridge crew made pleased sounds. They turned their ships toward home. Engines glowed. The fleet formed up in neat lines. They thought the war was over. Then space broke open. It started small. Tiny flashes at first, like stars blinking. Then the flashes grew. Rips appeared in the black. Ships poured out. Not one or two, hundreds. They came from every direction. No smooth curves, no bright colors. Just heavy blocks of dark metal. Thick armor. Guns everywhere. They looked angry. Leading them was a massive ship, longer than any Concorde dreadnought. Its hull was scarred from old battles and new repairs. A huge barrel ran down its center, a spinal-mounted graviton lance. The name on its side read Vengeance. Admiral Nathan Brooks stood on the bridge of the Vengeance. His face was calm. His hands rested on the command rail. He watched the Concorde fleet try to turn. They were slow. Too slow. "Status," he said. Commander Ashley Rivera checked her panel. "All squadrons in position. Jump disruptors active. They can't run." Nathan gave one order. "Engage!" The human ships moved, not in pretty formation, in a rush, like wolves on a herd. The first wave hit hard. Railguns fired. Long streaks of metal slugs flew at near light speed. They punched through Concorde shields like paper. One insect cruiser split open. Air and crew spilled into space. Fighter wings launched from the Independence and other carriers. Megan Foster led Red Squadron. Her fighter was small and fast. She pushed the throttle forward. "Red leader engaging," she said over comms. Brandon Hayes flew on her wing. "Copy. Let's make them pay." They dove into the enemy escorts. Lasers flashed. Missiles streaked. Concorde point defense tried to track them. Too many targets. Too fast. Megan rolled her fighter. She lined up on a reptile frigate. She fired. 2 torpedoes hit the engine section. The ship bloomed into white fire. On the Razor Claw, Kazath Vor stared at the screens. "Impossible," he clicked. "Where did these ships come from?" An officer answered. "Unknown designs, Admiral. Their weapons are different, stronger." Another hit rocked the flagship. The deck shook. Lights flickered. Kazath Vor barked orders. Form defensive sphere. Focus fire on the large one. Beams lanced out. They struck the Vengeance. Shields flared blue, held. Then the graviton lance answered. The weapon hummed. Space bent around the barrel. A beam of twisted gravity shot forward. It hit the razor claw dead center. Metal folded inward. Armor crumpled like foil. The flagship's core breached. Secondary explosions ran along its length. Kazath Vor gripped his command throne. Evasive! He never finished. The Vengeance closed fast. A boarding pod launched. It slammed into the bridge section. Explosive charges blew the hull open. Human troops poured in. Kevin Torres led the boarding team. He wore heavy armor. His rifle was short and brutal. He moved down the corridor. Concord soldiers met him, insects with energy blades, reptiles with acid spitters. Kevin fired. 3 quick shots. An insect fell. He advanced. His team followed. They cleared room by room. No mercy. No pause. Back in space, the battle turned one-sided. Human ships kept coming. They targeted engines first. And then weapons, then bridges. Concord ships died fast. Some tried to jump away. The disruptors stopped them. Engines failed. They drifted helpless. Megan's squadron finished the last escort carrier. She circled the burning wreck. Red leader to fleet. Sector clear. Nathan Brooks watched from the Vengeance. The main view screen showed the conquered fleet in pieces. Debris floated everywhere. Escape pods launched from dying ships. Humans did not fire on them. Not yet. A channel opened. It was from a small crystal ship, a diplomat. Its voice came through soft and trembling. Humans, please. We seek terms. This does not have to continue. Nathan looked at Ashley. She shook her head once. He opened the reply channel. You burned our colonies, he said. You killed without warning. You called us pests. He paused. Is now you ask for terms? The crystal pulsed weakly. We acted to protect the balance. Nathan's voice stayed flat. The balance is gone. You broke it. Live with what comes next. He cut the channel. The Vengeance turned. Its guns stayed hot. The fleet followed. They left the ruins of Epsilon Verge behind. They did not cheer. They did not celebrate. They simply moved on to the next target. Word spread fast through the Concord. Their admirals met in panic. Kazath Vor was dead. His flagship gone. Half the attack fleet lost in one fight. The humans they thought weak had come back stronger. Meaner. On Earth, people watched the battle feeds. They saw the Vengeance fire its lance. They saw fighters carve through the enemy. They saw boarding teams take the bridge. President Olivia Grant sat in her office. She watched the same feed. And when it ended, she turned to her advisors. They hit first, she said. We hit back. One advisor asked, What now? She looked out the window at the stars. Now we keep going. Until they understand. In the dark of space, Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of his rebuilt ship. It had a new name now, Retribution. Laura Bennett was at his side. She had her own command soon. Daniel stared at the reports of the battle. They're learning, he said. Laura nodded. Good. Let them learn the hard way. Somewhere ahead, more Concord worlds waited. Ships, bases, homes. The humans were coming, and this time they were not holding back. The Concord learned fast after the battle at Epsilon Verge. Their admirals stopped celebrating. Their scouts stopped laughing. Every report that came back said the same thing. Humans were not weak. And they had been quiet on purpose. Now they were loud and angry. A month after the first big fight, a group of reptilian raiders decided to strike back. They picked a small human mining outpost on a rocky moon called Theta 9. The raiders came in fast. Their beams turned the domes to glass. They killed the workers. They left no one alive. Then they sent a message to the galaxy. Humans bleed. We will make them bleed more. The message reached Earth in hours. Admiral Nathan Brooks read it on the bridge of the Vengeance. His jaw tightened. He looked at Commander Ashley Rivera. Find their home system, he said. All of it. Ashley nodded. She pulled up old maps. She found the raiders' main world, a green planet called Skara. It had heavy defenses, orbital forts, shipyards, cities full of reptile families. Nathan gave the order. This task force under Captain Daniel Hayes. Go there, take it apart, only military targets, nothing else. Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the Retribution. The ship was bigger now, new guns, thicker armor. Laura Bennett was his executive officer again. She checked the weapons status. Weapons hot, she said. Jump ready. Daniel looked at the crew. We do this clean. We hit their navy, their bases, their shipyards. We leave the cities alone. They need to see what happens when they push. The Retribution and its escorts jumped. They came out above Skara. The reptilian fleet tried to fight. 20 ships against 6 human ones. It did not last long. Railguns spoke first. Slugs punched through shields. Engines exploded. Then the grav-lances fired. One beam cut a dreadnought in half. Another turned an orbital fort to dust. So Megan Foster led the fighter wing. She flew low over the shipyards. Her missiles hit fuel tanks and dry docks. Brandon Hayes covered her. They danced through the fire. No raider ship escaped. In less than 2 hours, the military power of Skara was gone. Shipyards burned. Orbital stations drifted dead. The planet's defense grid was silent. Daniel opened a channel to the surface. This is Captain Daniel Hayes, he said. Your raiders attacked our people. They killed without reason. We answered. Your military is finished. Your cities are safe. For now. He paused. Tell your leaders. Match our level. Lose everything that matters. The channel closed. The human ships left. They did not bomb the cities. They did not land troops. They just vanished. The conquered felt it. Other species started to talk. Some tried to fight harder. A crystal fleet attacked a human supply line. They destroyed 3 freighters. They killed 200 civilians. The reply came fast. A human force under Admiral Nathan Brooks appeared above the crystal homeworld. They did not attack the glowing cities. They targeted only the military rings around the planet. Forts crumbled. Defense platforms shattered. The fleet that attacked the supply line never made it home. Nathan met with crystal ambassadors on a neutral station. The crystals floated in their energy fields. They pulsed with soft blue light. We wish to end this, one said. We offer terms, peace, borders, trade. Nathan listened. His face stayed hard. You started this, he said. You decided we were pests. You burned our homes. You murdered our families. He leaned forward. Pests do not negotiate. They exterminate. You gave us no other path. The crystals pulsed faster, nervous light. We can change, they said. Nathan stood up. Change after you pay for what you did. He walked out. The talks ended. Laura Bennett took a special job. She led psychological operations from the Retribution. She sent messages to every Concord channel. She showed videos, surrendered ships, officers kneeling, fleets standing down. Her voice was calm in every broadcast. This can end whenever you choose, she said. Stop fighting, live, or keep going, and see what happens next. Some conquered worlds listened. Small groups sent surrender signals. They powered down weapons. They waited. Others did not. They attacked again. A mixed fleet hit a human fringe colony. They glassed half the surface. The humans answered harder. A task force jumped into the attackers' core systems. They destroyed every military base on 3 planets. They left the populations alive. But the message was clear. Each attack cost the Concord more. President Olivia Grant watched from Earth. She met with her advisors every day. They test us, one said. They want to see if we break. Olivia shook her head. We do not break. We push. She approved more ships, more weapons. Factories worked day and night. On the Independence, Megan Foster sat in the ready room. She cleaned her helmet. Brandon Hayes sat next to her. They keep coming, she said. Brandon nodded. So do we. Kevin Torres walked in. He carried new ammo crates. "Boarding teams are ready," he said. "Next time we take a flagship, we make them watch." The Concorde started to crack. Their admirals argued. Some wanted peace, and others wanted total war. The ones who wanted war lost more ships every week. One night, Daniel Hayes stood on the observation deck of the Retribution. Stars filled the black outside. Laura joined him. "How long do you think this lasts?" she asked. Daniel looked at the stars. "Until they stop," he said. "Or until there is nothing left to fight with." Laura put a hand on the rail. "They gave us permission," she said quietly. "They wanted hell. They got it." Daniel turned to her. "And we are just getting started." Far away, conquered leaders met in secret. They looked at empty docks, burning worlds, silent fleets. One insect admiral clicked softly. "We underestimated them," a reptile hissed. "We still outnumber them." The crystal representative pulsed dim. "Numbers do not matter now, and they fight like they have nothing to lose." The room went quiet. They had started a fire. Now the fire was coming for them, and humans did not plan to stop until every spark was out. 1 year had passed since the Concorde first attacked. Their core capital system waited at the edge of known space, a huge star with many planets. Ancient cities built from crystal and stone, massive shipyards that had never lost a war. Now 10,000 Concorde warships gathered there, the last big fleet they had left. Insect dreadnoughts, reptile carriers, crystal spheres that spun like slow moons. They formed a wall across the system. They waited for the humans to come. Grand Admiral Zeth Carr stood on the bridge of the final flagship, the Void Reaper. He was older now. His shell showed cracks from stress. His officers looked tired. No one spoke of victory anymore. They spoke only of survival. "Humans approach," a scanner officer reported. "Half our numbers, but their ships, they look different. Heavier, meaner." Zeth Carr clicked his mandibles. "They will break on our line. Hold formation." On the other side of the void, the human armada moved forward. Not as many ships, 5,000, but everyone built for this moment. Armor thick as mountains, guns that could crack planets, names like Vengeance, Retribution, Fury, Independence. They did not march in neat rows. They came in a wide, howling wave. Admiral Nathan Brooks stood on the bridge of the Vengeance. His uniform was clean. His eyes were calm. Commander Ashley Rivera stood beside him. She checked the final status. "All ships report ready," she said. "Disruptors charged. Lances primed. Shipboarding teams standing by." Nathan looked at the main screen. The Concorde wall filled it. Thousands of lights. He took a slow breath. "Open a channel," he said. "All frequencies. Let every ship hear this." The comm officer nodded. The light turned green. Nathan spoke. His voice carried across space, clear, steady, heard on every conquered bridge and every human deck. "You called us infestation," he began. "You burned our homes. You murdered our families. You thought we would break." He paused. The silence felt heavy. "You were wrong." He turned to Ashley. "Give the order." Ashley's voice rang out. "All ships, full advance, weapons free." The human fleet surged. Engines roared silent in the vacuum. They hit the Concorde line like a hammer on glass. Grav lances fired first. Beams of bent space tore through the front ranks. But insect dreadnoughts folded inward. Reptile carriers split open. Crystal spheres shattered into glowing dust. Megan Foster led her fighter wing. She pushed her craft into the fight. "Red Squadron on me," she called. They dove between capital ships. Missiles flew. Lasers cut. She targeted engines. Brandon Hayes flew tight on her wing. They cleared a path for the bombers. Kevin Torres waited in a boarding pod on the Retribution. His team sat ready, armor sealed, rifles charged. The pod launched when the Retribution closed on a Concorde flagship. It slammed into the hull. Explosives blew a hole. Kevin led the charge inside. They fought deck by deck. Concorde soldiers met them, insects with blades, reptiles with claws. Kevin fired short bursts. His team moved fast. They reached the bridge. They took it. The enemy officers knelt, and the ship went dark. Captain Daniel Hayes commanded the Retribution from its bridge. Laura Bennett stood next to him. She watched the battle unfold. "They're crumbling," she said. Daniel nodded. "They never learned. We stopped holding back." The Concorde tried to fight. They fired beams. They launched counters. But human ships absorbed the hits. Their shields held. Their armor took the punishment. Then they answered twice as hard. A crystal sphere tried to ram the Independence. Nathan Brooks watched it come. He gave one order. "Lance it!" The graviton beam fired. The sphere bent, cracked, exploded in a shower of light. Hours passed. The Concorde line shrank. Ships died one by one. Escape pods launched. Some humans let them go, others did not. The fight was too raw for mercy in every case. Zeth-Kar watched his fleet die. His bridge shook from hits. Alarms screamed. Officers fell around him. "Signal retreat," he ordered. Too late. The human wave had broken through. The Vengeance closed on the Void Reaper. Boarding pods struck again. Kevin Torres led another team. They fought to the bridge. Zeth-Kar stood alone when they arrived. He looked at the humans. "You are monsters," he clicked. Kevin raised his rifle. "You made us this way." The shot ended it. When the last Concorde dreadnought went silent, space grew quiet. Debris floated everywhere. The human ships stopped firing. They held position. No cheers filled the comms, no victory songs, just tired breathing. Nathan Brooks opened a final channel. It went to every surviving conquered ship and world. "The war is over," he said. "You started it. We finished it. Return to your systems. Never enter human space again. Dismantle half your remaining fleet. Pay for what you destroyed, resources, materials, for 1,000 years. He paused. "Break these terms. We will come back. And next time, we will not stop at your fleets." The channel closed. Days later, the Treaty of Silence was signed on a neutral station. Concorde leaders came in small ships. No weapons, no escorts. They signed the papers. They bowed their heads. They left without a word. On Earth, people watched the news. Cities lit up again. Families gathered. They did not cheer loud. They just felt the weight lift. Daniel Hayes stood on a balcony overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The sun set slow and red. Waves rolled below. Laura Bennett joined him. She carried 2 cups of coffee. "Think they'll ever try again?" she asked. Daniel took the cup. He looked at the horizon. "If they do," he said quietly, "we'll be ready to get even nastier." Laura smiled small. "We always are." The galaxy changed that day. Old powers stepped back. New borders appeared. Stories spread. Traitors whispered. Aliens told their young about the humans, not as pests, as something else. Something that waited. Something that answered fire with fire. Something that never forgot. Humanity did not conquer. They did not rule. They simply made one thing clear. Do not touch us. Because if you do, we stop being polite. And we get really nasty. The war ended not with fireworks or parades. It ended with silence. A silence the Concorde would never forget. And somewhere in the stars, human ships patrolled. Quiet, ready, watching. They had been given a reason. They would never need another.